What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and just because a few people have actually asked me online now my personal thoughts on The Stick of Truth and whether they should buy it or pass on it, I'm just going to do a quick review. By quick, it's probably going to turn long because I'm planning on doing this emulating one of my favorite reviewers, Total Biscuit. Obviously, I'm not going to be as in-depth as him because he does a whole lot more research and so on. I'm just kind of doing this for fun. So, first of all, the actual options are pretty limited. Why was it just set to casual? That was fucking weird. Oh, because that was my first playthrough character. I had no idea how to use it when I was messing around. Alright, so, yeah, very basic. You can't really even change the graphics, but it's a cartoon the whole time, so it just stays at 30 frames per second. You don't need to have really fast reaction times or anything like that. So, it's very straightforward and simple. The downloadable content, I don't think this works like Xbox. I'm pretty sure this will drop me, take me over to Steam. Right now, the only things available for downloadable content are pretty lacking, in my honest opinion. They only contain costumes. The costumes that I have unlocked because I pre-ordered the game, and then costumes from like Space and Samurais and so forth. They're just not up to par with the downloadable content that I feel would be wanted in this game. So I'm actually going to lower the volume real quick. So just drop this down right to about there, because it's going to be more for talking. I've never actually used the help button. Okay, so this has all your instructions in it. It's pretty interesting. It's a nice little thing that they added because you get things like the Nagasaki magic, the one that I was just trying to use but couldn't. This is very helpful to have. It shows you the controls and combat controls. So, to me, just this added little help feature, it removes the need of a manual, which when you buy a game online through Steam, I don't get the manual that I would have if I would have bought this for Xbox or PlayStation. So, having that in there, that's a very, very nice little feature. And as far as game time goes, it depends on your definition of game time. For instance, this is the character I'm currently using with my Let's Play. It's got 6 hours on it. And this is the character that I've been messing around with just for fun. It's a thief. It's got 4 hours. And then we look at the character that I beat the game on, the one that I'm currently using, 10 hours. So yes, that means that this is a 10-hour game. With that being said, I have not completed nearly all the side quests on my little main character here. And additionally, I've played through the game several times. I would have played through as a mage even without doing the Let's Play just because I have fun playing the game. It's definitely something like a South Park episode, through and through. But that, I mean, when you're playing, you feel like you're in South Park. Everything, your interactions, the things characters say when you slap them, they just feel like you're in South Park. And that's because Matt Stone and Trey Parker wrote the story for the game and were with the game developers almost the entire time and used their voice for the game. So the creators and voice actors of South Park, creators, writers, voice actors of South Park, created, wrote, and voice acted this video game. When I say created, obviously they didn't develop it, but they created the ideas and what exactly happened. And they, as opposed to a company buying the license to make a South Park game, Matt Stone and Trey Parker had actually called around and they found Ubisoft who wanted to produce it, and then they just needed an actual developer, and they wanted Obsidian. So they started calling Obsidian up, and I guess the first time they called them, they're like, "Hey, this is South Park guys, do you want to make a game with us?" And they're like, "Bullshit," click, hung up the phone on them, and they actually had to call back and were like, "No, seriously, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, we want to make a video game." But enough about that. So, the video game makes you feel like you're in a TV show, right in the episode, right down to the art style, the voiceovers, everything. The humor is great. It's definitely raunchy, but the show is raunchy. You do not want to be playing this with your kids. But
hey, you're getting popular. I need to get in.
Well, you might not want to be playing this with your kids, playing it with friends, and possibly passing off the controller back and forth. I can see that being done. So I'm going to come up here real quick to show the combat in case people haven't seen the combat and hit some of my bad points. So, defeat Manbear Pig. I could also go fight him if I wanted to. But, so, yeah, the game feels like you're in the show. The show is raunchy. This is even more so because
that's not nice.
They say fuck, shit, piss, ass, dick all the time. I mean, your character's name is Douchebag. That's what they name you, and that's what you go by. Some of the other benefits of the game, it's actually has a very, very in-depth system. The consumables, not so much, because you have like 5 different health potions, and I guess that's to kind of mix it up and make it funny, but they all do the same thing. Each one, just the large ones restore 60% of your health, small ones restore 40, and oh, this one's a sugar packet versus candy bar. Or here we have cookies versus, I think another one's a baked potato. Who cares? It's all the same, yeah. Snacky cakes, sure. Junk, it really is just junk. You can sell it and get more money. That's all it's used for. But the main thing about this is they typically have references to the TV shows or weird little things that are just funny. Alabama Man, he could bowl, he could drink, he can drink some more. That's actually a reference to one of the episodes. Broken Gnome pick, obviously, from the Underpants Gnomes. And, you know, some of it not as funny as others. Torn condom, you find this in friggin' Gay Alan in Mr. Slave's bedroom. Like, ew. The poop that took a pee. That's actually a reference, again, to a TV show. They come across a book called Poop That Took a Pee. The main thing is your ability to change your character's appearance. There are a lot of combinations you can get. So if you want to go with the Stupid Spoiled Whore set, Grandpa Vampire wig, you can change up any way you want. So say I wanted my male character here to quickly become a female character. Let's do that. Put those on, I guess. I don't know. This is not going to be the prettiest little girl ever, but no. Where's my eyeliner? I know I got makeover makeup. Yeah. Then clearly we want to get rid of facial hair. And then boom, I now have a girl. Nice and simple, thanks to the South Park method of long hair equals girl and short hair equals boy. Very straightforward, but there you go. Yeah, and there are a lot of options in order to mix and match your character any way you see fit. In addition to that, there's a lot of different equipment you can have. One of the interesting things, you can actually check all the equipment, sort of, in your equipment page of your collectibles. So as you can see, it shows the barbarian outfit, minstrel outfit. Don't know what outfit that is. It's some sort of like stripper gear. But you can actually go through and see everything that's in here, all the different costumes and what you're missing. I'm curious as to what that is. Valkyrie armor. Weird. And in addition, you can also see all the weapons you can have. Some of them look really cool. You get that from beating Manbear Pig, by the way. I mean, this is just like a straight pocket knife. Yeah, the Vibro Blade. God help us all. But I mean, like, you have a friggin' crossbow you can get, like a straight up crossbow. You can get a saw blade to throw, a compound bow, and ew, poison grenade. Ew. Don't know what the hell that is. It looks like it's frickin' erasers inside of a water bottle. I don't know. But yeah, you can see all the different items you have, and as you can tell, there's a lot, and each one's unique. That's one of the more interesting things about the game too. Like, this sword is clearly different from even this sword or this one. They all look very unique, And I can really appreciate that because it makes the game more fun when things are constantly changing. Like old school RPGs, when you change that equipment, you didn't ever really see the effects, even in combat. And that just didn't feel right to me. Fortunately, in the newer ones, they changed that. And here are the quest collectibles. It shows that I need to still beat homeless, find kindergartners, collect underpants, and I have keys to get into different areas around the world and unlock stuff. So this is how you can actually see what you have checked out, like found a key for someplace but then haven't gotten into another. It lays everything out for you rather nicely. Shows all the friends that you've made. I currently have 88, and I'm clearly not going to show them all. It doesn't give any background information, which I kind of wish they did with some of the more real characters, obviously like Nellie, Jesse, Allie Nelson, Heidi, Red. Fuck them, they're not really on the show. But I would like to have a little background information on Ike. Or why couldn't I find out a little bit more about Raccoony, one of the woodland critters? Yeah. Damien, he was in only one episode, but he was pivotal to that episode, and it would be fun to, like, have a little bit of information about him. I can't even click on him. You know, oh well. And then you also have the Chimpokemon. This is purely one of those just added things they put in the game. I'm honestly not sure what would happen if I collected them all. As you can see, I'm only missing 10. But I think there's one on the alien spaceship, which means I'm not going to get it. Because after the spaceship crashes, you can't get back on. Because it's in the mall, and the mall's blocked off. So, I definitely think the game is very, very comprehensive. It goes very in-depth in your item collection, in your equipment, and more importantly, your character design. You can make your character look any way you want. And hell, if you wanted more challenge, because like I've been saying in my Let's Play that the game's very easy, you can swap out some of this higher level gear that I'm currently wearing and put on, you know, I can put on the Valkyrie costume. You know, freaking wear nothing at all, pretty much. I'm not going to do that because that's just kind of creepy because, you know, they're kids and whatnot. But, you know, it's a possibility. You can even dye your costume. Let me show that real quick. So, yeah, if you want to dye your equipment, you got to find the dye first, like these truly blacked out ones. I haven't found them. Well, that looks horrible. Let's put this on black. And then secondary, let's do purple to match my hair. Not that purple. Not that purple. Let's do pink to match my hair. Yeah, okay, whatever. So, yeah, you can go through and dye. It's not totally comprehensive because you don't have pants that you can dye, or sometimes you wouldn't be able to dye certain parts of the top, but you'd be able to dye the pants. It's kind of weird. I wish it had a little bit more to it, but it still makes customization that much more in depth, and that's really what this game is all about, it seems. So, let's talk about combat. I have some issues with combat, and that's probably my biggest issue with the game. First and foremost are the number of characters you have. How the fuck do I get over there? Oh, I know how. So, well, I accidentally pulled up the character menu, so let's talk about your other characters for now. So, as you might have been able to see, I have a little follower who's chasing me around and having fun, and it's Butters. And I love Butters. He is my favorite. He's a born victim, and he can heal you, which I found certain tricks that makes that just overpowered. And he has access to 3 different abilities he can cast. All characters are relatively the same. Butters is a little bit different because he has a passive, where the other ones just have actives and 3 abilities that they can use. So you're only offered, how many is that? 6 characters that you could choose to take with you. And it's really not that big of a deal. I couldn't see too many others getting added. These are really the main characters minus Jimmy. It's always just been the main 4, and then Butters when Kenny was dead for a while. So these were definitely the characters that I would want, and thankfully they added Jimmy in there just to round it out and give you an additional quote-unquote class, because, you know, we have the paladin, princess, I don't know what the fuck she's really supposed to be. We have the warrior, a bard, the druid, and the wizard. And they each follow a different class. Each one has different abilities, and they can synergize with your main character a little bit more, or, you know, you could focus on them. I don't recommend that because you can't actually boost them like your own character, and the synergies that you can get with your own character are ridiculous. But because of the different abilities that they have, I found that Butters is the best. He really is just the best. Between Professor Chaos, the fact that he can act as a tank for you automatically, just passively, he's a tank. Plus he has abilities to piss off your targets and therefore make sure he's tanking. And he can heal you. He's just the only character that I absolutely love. The other ones have funny abilities. Like Cartman, in order to use his electric attack, it's called Curse. It's a reference to the movie where they put the V-chip in him, and it short circuits, and whenever he starts swearing, he can shoot lightning bolts out, and that's what happens in the game. So, it's a reference to the movie. I definitely appreciate it. Burning Cloud, he lights a fart on fire, so on. Kenny's are pretty interesting because if you mess them up, he gets killed. Stands are fucking pointless. Jimmy's I love because I think his songs are hilarious as he's singing them, and it's kind of got a rhythm game button press. And Kyle's are kind of stupid, in all honesty. Butters is the best, so let's stick with Butters. And I feel bad because during my Let's Play, that's pretty much all I do as well, is stick with Butters. One of the other cool things are you unlock different abilities throughout the game, like the ability to raise and lower your size. You can't get bigger than your main size. You can use the satellite dish to teleport the little blue eyes and move around. You can shoot things in the environment with whatever ranged weapon you have equipped. Or you can tell your friend to go do something. That one's far less used. Additionally, you have 4 different farts, and each one is used for different things. Sneaky Squeaker, you can use to distract enemies. Dragon Shout is to do a close range, like, explosion with fire. Nagasaki is a giant explosion with fire, and it takes a while to charge up. And Cup of Spell is a long range fart. So, the main issue I have with combat.
Well, there's a professor of astrophysics. That's a professor of neurobiology. Well, that one's a lawyer, I think. He said he went to Oxford.
Nice, Butters, nice. The main issue I have with combat is actually the fact that you only get to have one character other than your main character. How cool would it be to take the original 4 with you in the combat in addition to everything else? So I do not remember how to do this at all. That was pretty good. Well, apparently this character was pretty strong back when I played it. Wonder if I have that healing.
Yeah, that's it,
Yep,
little
I do
buddy.
have my PP gain ability on. As you can see, this character is also a little bit tankier. That's why I have armor up in the top. All the characters do play a little bit differently. All 4 classes, you have to chain different things through in different ways.
Just give me whatever you got on you.
But yeah, like
My religious theory.
what am I looking for? Whoops. Hit the wrong button. Like the Thief, for instance, it's all about trying to make your opponent bleed and thereby gain buffs from them bleeding. Whereas, is this one that cuts armor? Or is this one?
You got any
One of these cuts armor. Having armor, yeah. Okay, so I gotta hold down A until I see red. And boom, you just lost half armor and took a shit ton of damage, and that's what the warrior is good for. The warrior is great at tanking and cutting armor down so that way you can have your partner finish him off. But no, because no, it's just easier to do it straight up damage. And there we go.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Easy fight. Like most of the game, it's easy. That's probably the other downside. Yeah, the wizard's all about casting magic spells and setting enemies on fire and controlling them like that. The Jew is actually a lot about debuffs and buffing your party. And I just think it's a great game in regards to how you can even play the characters. And that's because in your equipment section, you can further modify your weapons with things called strap-ons. Strap-ons give bonus effects to a weapon, and they vary pretty well. We have things that add bleeding effects, fire. You can actually set your opponent on fire, but it mainly just does the bonus fire damage, and if they're weak to fire damage, they take even more. Same with frost. Gross out, similar to the two, except now you can't. The frost has a chance at slowing. The gross has a chance of grossing out, which causes them to start puking and taking damage. Not as much as if they're burnt. Shock, I think, has a chance to stun and causes shock damage, obviously. And then you have things like this Vampiric Teeth, drain HP. Kind of badass. The real thing that, and it took me longer to figure these out, the real place that you can gain ridiculous buffs are with your patches. And the equipment patches that you can put on your head, gloves, and chest piece. Because these have crazy, crazy synergies. As you can see, I'm just doing like fire damage increased by 25, which is not the right way to do this. But again, this is my first character before I really started learning the synergies. And you can play with these for mixed match combinations and get some really cool effects. So the game system's actually pretty in-depth as far as equipment goes, but where it lacks are on the abilities. So as you can see during the attack phase, before I could heal, I could use magic abilities, I could use a ranged attack if I wanted to, or I could have used my melee attack. Yeah, not very in-depth. Oh, the last thing you could do is magic, but I rarely ever used it because it didn't seem necessary to me. As far as your abilities go, each class only has access to 5. So, for instance, with the warrior, we have your starting ability, clobber your foe with a baseball bat. On a perfect success, deal additional damage. Stun targets take additional damage. You restore HP, and it now inflicts bleeding. So it was a pretty good ability to use. Rochambeau, you can stun your targets. This is the main one because it cuts your opponent's... what is it? You can cut their armor in half, which is amazing late game because the bosses wind up having like 1,400 armor and shit. Horn of Irritation, this is if you wanted to build your warrior as a tank. I don't know why I put a point in it, maybe just for they remove all buffs on enemies, but they rarely even buff themselves up to the point that that's really necessary. If you put more points in it, then next thing you know, you start rallying your team and debuffing your enemies, and that could be good. And then Ground Stop's your ultimate. It tends to do the most damage, but it costs a shit ton. And it has some bonus effects in there that are pretty cool. So, the perks. You get these by recruiting friends. And basically, these just have different perks that you get through fights. So, Growing Bow, you gain increased HP. Your attacks increase damage when you're critically injured. Taco revives, now revive you all the way. Max PP raise. First attack of each round does extra damage. It's just another way to kind of flesh out your character a little bit more. I'm not totally sure how many characters there are in the game as far as friends go. I'm assuming probably 100. So that means that I'd only have access to one more perk if I spent the time to find all remaining friends, which I'm not going to do, but there it is. And then the last thing you have is the magic. Magic is boring. You can use it during combat. I don't because the mana doesn't recharge. You have to eat during combat in order to refill it. And yeah, I mean, disorient foes. This causes extra destructive power. I I'm just bored with it, to be honest. So I'd never use it. That's too bad, because it could have been very interesting, since you can actually chain these with other things, and there are perks that buff them, restoring HP, PP, counterattacks for more damage, inflict more damage with magic. So, I don't know. I just don't like how the magic is used, and that is my last little gripe with the game. Certain challenges in it, especially when it comes time to learn quote-unquote magic, which are really just different farts, it becomes a struggle, an absolute struggle at times to get the right button press, and if you mess up, you don't just start over again. You have to listen to some stupid saying, and then you get another shot at it. But
Get 'em, new kid.
it just takes so fucking long to finish that it drives me nuts. And I did not like it. It actually messed up one of my recordings. And if you're watching this before I put up that recording, I apologize when you get there. And if after, I apologize if you watched it. So, yeah. In the end, I'd probably give this like an 8 out of 10. It's by far not my favorite game, but I really, really do like the story. Playing it's fun. It made me feel like I was in South Park. I wish I could have had more characters, but the customization of my personal character is amazing. And
Is
for
this not
that,
your real name?
I really enjoy it. So, until then, last thing. If you know South Park, if you like South Park, I recommend buying it. If you're a somewhat fan of South Park, or you watched it when you were a kid, that's when I start getting more into the, you might enjoy it. If you've never watched South Park, don't buy this game. It's not for you. South Park is uniquely its own thing, so if you don't watch the show, you will dislike this game. I'm not even saying you might enjoy it, you're just going to dislike it. You're not going to like the characters, you're not going to like the story or the humor. You might, to some degree, but if you've never
really
watched
cleaned
it,
up that bar.
you're not going to get a lot of it, and
You
it's
know
just
they'll
going to be
fucking
boring.
in the bathroom.
So, anyways, guys, good luck. Have fun. Peace.